When it comes to being incarcerated, one thing that you must always remember is everything ain't sweet. What I mean by that is you will find yourself in situations to where you may have to do something to somebody or somebody may try to do something to you. Violence is everywhere and you got to make sure you look out for it. If you're watching this, you already know why you're here. What's up, y'all? You already know, man. KFROG TV back in the building. Y'all go ahead and do me that solid favor, man. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button. And also make sure you hit the notification bell so you can see it first. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. I want to tell everybody, finally, welcome back to another episode of the Inmate Dictionary. I know I ain't dropped one of these in a while. It's been about 9 months. But I figured, you know what? We'll pick back up where we left off at. So for this video here, we're going to be talking about letter V. And we're going to be talking about violence. Violence is always an option, okay? And I want you to know that. What type of dictionary would this be if we didn't speak about violence? You know what I'm saying? For people who don't know about the Inmate Dictionary, y'all can check out the playlist under the channel, and you will see that we're going to go from A to Z, and I'm going to break down things that help you survive while you're incarcerated, all right? Violence is always an option, and I'm going to explain to you, and I'm going to let you know what I mean by that and why it's always an option, okay? Believe it or not, you find yourself in situations to where you may feel like violence isn't, you know, the safest way out. It isn't the easiest way out. But in all reality, a lot of times, violence is the easy way, okay? And I'm going to let you know what I mean by that. If you get yourself in a situation with somebody in there, you got to understand, nobody wants to look like they're softer than the individual that they're actually getting into. You know, the person that they got the conflict with, everybody wants to look like they're the alpha, you know? So if you carry yourself like alpha, you're going to either find yourself in a situation with a sheep or with a wolf. You feel me? Now, someone else that you find yourself in a situation with that is an alpha just like you, they might rely and run straight to violence. That's why it's always an option, because it's going to be an option that that person may try to hurt you the violent way, and you may have to, in order to be the alpha, or in order to just protect yourself, you may have to switch on over and use violence as an option as well. I've seen so many people inside of prison that were scared to take violence into their hands. You know what I'm saying? That were scared to hurt somebody physically. And I know at the end of the day, people that don't want to do that, you know, feel like they're doing something wrong. When you're protecting yourself, if violence didn't need to be needed and then you used it, then maybe, you abuse the authority of you having the upper hand on that individual. But if it's a situation where it's mano y mano, you and them, and you know they're going to try to harm you, and you use violence on that person, I feel like that's fair game. I feel like you did what you needed to do. Now, if you find yourself in a situation that you know somebody is soft, you know that person is not going to try to harm you, they're scared shitless already. They don't want no problems, no smoke. And you decide, yo, you know what? You're going to take it to the next level and turn it up a notch and do something violent to that person. Then I feel like you overdid it. You understand? You took advantage because that person was vulnerable and you decided to harm them when you really didn't need to. They were already scared. You see what I'm saying? If you're somebody that's with the shits, you're going to always come across somebody that's with the shits just like you. You feel me? There's always somebody bigger and badder. No matter what you do, no matter how many people you beat up on the streets, did violent shit to in the streets, there's going to be people in prison that can whoop you. There's going to be people in prison that can harm you more than you can harm them. And say they can't whoop you, but they're willing to take a life faster than you are. They could try to kill you, you know, and it's possible. You can die in there. Prison is a violent place. And I want this video to trigger in people's minds to remember violence is always an option, okay? Which means you find yourself in that situation going back and forth with this individual, you may jump the gun. For those that don't know what that means like act first, you know, like think something's leading some type of way and really it isn't. So you decide to jump and act first. You feel me? Which I did a lot of that growing up in my life. I'll think this person's going to do something to me, so I act first. In all reality, they weren't. That's called jumping the gun. You feel me? I jumped the gun. I thought wrong of the situation and I acted. You might have to do stuff like that because it's a tricky world in prison, okay? The reason you may have to jump the gun, the only way you're going to find out if you jumped the gun is if you were right or wrong about thinking that person was going to harm you. But the reason you may have to jump the gun is because at the same time, you don't want to get caught lacking, is what they say. Be slipping, you know what I'm saying? So the moment you think it's not a serious situation, that individual can be thinking, just like I'm saying, he might feel like you're going to try to get him. He might jump the gun and attack you and can hurt you, can harm you. Because not everybody's using these inside of prison. Believe it or not. There's a lot of fights that go down in prison, but there's a lot more stab incidents. There's a lot of situations that have knives, razor blades. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta always be aware. You feel me? That's why it's like the moment you feel like, bruh ain't on that shit. You know what I'm saying? Bruh might be on that shit. And then the moment you think, bruh ain't finna catch me slipping, I'm gonna get him first. You could possibly be jumping the gun. And now you're going to harm this person in a violent way. And your mind just misled you. You feel me? But at the same time, the way I look at it, I don't look at that wrong. I don't look at like you did any wrong by doing that. You feel me? If you jump the gun and you stab somebody up or you hurt somebody violently, physically, because you thought they were going to get you first and they weren't, I don't look at it like you're wrong because it's better safe than sorry. But if you knew for a fact that that individual wasn't living like that, you knew that individual wasn't going to try to harm you, wasn't going to try to put their hands on you or stab you or cut you in your sleep. You knew they were not living like that. And then you still did a violent act to them. That's some bully shit. You feel me? And that's the wrong energy you want to put out there because there's always somebody watching. You feel me? So even though you punked that individual, you know, and you harmed that individual and you maybe possibly taught that individual a lesson, even though he already learned the lesson before you even harmed him, there's going to be other people that are watching and observe this violent act you do. And then that's going to make them feel like if y'all ever get in a conflict, they got to jump the gun. You see what I'm saying? The more people that know you'll stab someone, that's the more people that you risk if you get in an argument with an altercation with later on down the line. You risk them feeling like, oh, we know he'll stab because we seen him stab such and such. Or even when he didn't have to, he stabbed such and such. That's going to make these people jump the gun and want to stab you first. You feel me? And not everybody's straightforward with it. You know, you can have a disagreement with somebody without even having a conversation with them. That's how crazy it is. You feel me? You could say something to one person, you know, and that person can run and say something to someone else who thinks the total opposite. He don't agree with what you said to that individual, so he don't like you now because of that, you know, and then you don't even know you're having a dispute with somebody that y'all ain't even speaking. And then he'll want to stab you just because he's against what you stand for, and then you didn't even see it coming. And the only reason he decided to stab you is because he knew if he brought it to your attention, you would turn it into something and try to stab him. You feel me? So that's what I want this video to sit in people's minds. You know, that's why I decided to make letter V. Violence is always an option. Because it's for both parties. For you and the others. You see what I'm saying? The moment you think something's sweet, they can go the violent route. And the moment you think it's the violent route, it can be a sweet route. The moment you think you ain't got to do nothing to this person, you may have to violently hurt somebody. And the moment that you do decide to violently hurt somebody, you'll realize you didn't have to. You see what I'm saying? This is one thing that a lot of people forget about. Okay? You have people that go to prison and they don't better themselves. They don't rehabilitate themselves. Like the institutions are meant, you know, to rehabilitate you, to break you down and build you back up. You feel me? A lot of people, you know, they get so entwined in what's going on in prison. You know, the gambling, the drugs, the hustling. You know, the hanging out, having fun, partying. you know, clicking up with people, taking advantage of the weak, extorting people, that when they do all these things, they take their mind off of how violent and dangerous this place is that you're actually in. You feel me? And that's why a lot more people get fucked up than the average amount that make it through with no problem. You feel me? Because all these things that you're doing, you know, you get hipped to it. You get adapted, and now you're used to it, and you think it's all fun and games because you were having fun and games because you had 25 people in the dorm that was all on fun and games with you. Next thing you know, you ain't really paying attention to how violently something can happen to you, and you can't be ready for what to expect to happen if you're not focusing on that. You know what I'm saying? One of the main things that I learned inside of prison, besides patience, was to observe. You understand? To pay attention. Just look around. Pay attention. Don't just fall in the dorm off rip, you know, try to hit the canteen window, go around trying to do deals with people and shit. People are going to look at you like you're sweet, like you're vulnerable, and they're going to try to finesse talk you out of all your shit. They're going to try to see what they can get out of you, how you act, everything. So your best bet is to do what I did. Just fall back for a couple days, mind your business. And you'll see, you'll peep who's real. You'll be able to peep who's fake. It's always the fake ones, the ones that like have no respect, the ones that people will bully and rob and try. That'll be the first ones that'll come up to you and try to friend you. You feel me? And they'll carry themselves like, you know, they're respected and, you know, people ain't fucking with them as you're looking and shit. But what it is people don't respect them. People ain't fucking with them because they're not considered a threat. The moment they get something that the others want, they will take. Until then, they'll let him run around and act like he's all that. You feel me? When really he's just trying to recruit people and see what he can get from you. You sit back and you observe and you will pay attention and you will see who's with that shit and who ain't with that shit. And you will literally gain more respect in the long run by being like that. By just observing, minding your business. People are fighting, who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? People over here arguing, who cares? You see what I'm saying? Mind your business. It don't matter what it is. Don't talk to nobody. Just keep your chin up, walk around, do what you got to do, and pay attention and observe. Now that you got your mind focused on all your surroundings, if somebody tries to come harm you, do something violent to you, rob you, extort you, or anything like that, you'll be able to see it from a mile away because your vision's clear. The only thing you're focusing on is your surroundings. People forget that. And then that's why they find themselves in some violent ass situations to where it's either stab or be stabbed. And a lot of times, when it's that stabbed or be stabbed situation, when it's violence that finally has to happen, a lot of people find themselves hurt first because they never once locked it in their mind or even paid attention to think they'd be put in this type of situation at all because they were too busy paying attention to everything else. You see what I'm saying? That's why you got to just pay attention. Just make sure no matter what you do, you protect yourself. And if it comes down to it and you find yourself in a situation that violence has to come out, make sure you're with it. Okay? Don't be one of these people that do a lot of this shit. Hang out with a bunch of people that are really on that stabbing shit, but you do a lot of this. Because, like I said, people are going to be observant, see who you hang out with, see how you talk, see how you act, see how you play around, see how seriously you take yourself, see how much you act around other people. People are going to pay attention to all this. And when one situation strikes and occurs, or if they want something you have, they may pull a knife out. And if you didn't have that killer in you, that real savage that you're playing and portraying in you for real, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be the one that gets hurt. You feel me? That's why you got to make sure when it comes to this shit, you always remember violence is always an option. Straight up. Don't ever judge a book by its cover. Don't ever think this person's 100% sweet. Don't think just because that dude and that dude and that dude got away with trying him that he's sweet, you could try him. Haven't you heard that people pick faces? There's some people that will literally stab up and airlift 10 different people a month on the compound, but are scared of this one person. You see what I'm saying? Or it could be the opposite. It could be 5, 6 different people that bully this individual and he won't fuck with them because he's scared of them. They already put fear in him. And no matter how seriously he tries to act back towards them, they don't look at him like a threat because they already seen his bitch side. You feel me? But then when you come around thinking, oh, because bruh's soft from what you thought, you know, you could be judging the book by the cover, and really he could stab the shit out of you. You feel me? Because violence was an option in his eyes. You see what I'm saying? That's one thing you got to always remember. No matter how sweet the institution is, I don't care if you land at a camp that there's barely any stabbings, there's barely any fights. You know, don't think violence is not an option, okay? Literally, you got to remember it always is an option, because all it takes is for a couple knuckleheads to land at that institution that come from somewhere else to crank that institution up. And it'll go from barely having stabbings and fights to having half and half, more fights and stabbings than before, and then next thing you know, it'll be a negative camp now to where 85% of it's like a jungle. Now there's fights and stabbings every single day. That's all it takes is a couple knuckleheads to change shit around. You get what I'm saying? And a lot of people get it fucked up because they'll go to prison and their first bid or their first couple months, or, you know, and they weasel their way through the cracks, you know. Nobody does nothing to them, but it happens around them. They see it happens to other people and they hear about it and stuff like that. And then they get out and they think prison's sweet. So then they go to talking like prison ain't shit. And then next thing you know, somebody that they told that to goes to prison, has the worst experience ever in their life. Or that same person goes back to prison for their second round and then they see it's way different than what they were thinking it was. You feel me? If you make it through prison with no problems, you got to look at that shit as a blessing and go ahead and tap yourself on the shoulder. Straight up. Look at that as a blessing. Don't look at it like you made it through prison, nobody fucked with you only because of you. That's false. You feel me? I didn't make it through prison only because of me, myself. You feel me? It ain't just, there's probably plenty of people that wanted to do things to me that I don't know about. You feel me? That didn't do it. You feel me? Not saying it would have worked or it wouldn't have worked. I know I would protect myself, but at the same time, you got to look at how many situations could have occurred if other individuals on the other side, the ones that are looking in at you, wanted to do something and they didn't do nothing. You feel me? So you can't only congratulate yourself and take it as if you made it through prison all on your own like that, because you never know. Somebody could have spared you from what they had planned. You get what I'm saying? Somebody could have been wanting to stab you and kill you and rob you for whatever you have, and they decided not to. You see? So you got to always take that shit as a blessing, that you made it through prison with no violent acts done to you and you not having to do nothing violent to anybody. You feel me? Take that as a blessing. Don't take that as if you're the big dog. You were the biggest dog and people fucked with you 1,000 and knew not to try you. Because I got tried by people and I fought. You see what I'm saying? You're not going to go through prison being somebody that everybody respects without showing, without fighting. You feel me? It's not like you're going to go through prison, everybody respects me and nobody tried me because they knew what time it was. No, everybody gets tested because there's always a bigger dog. You feel me? There's always a bigger dog in that yard, believe it or not. You see what I'm saying? Just make sure if it comes down to it, you always remember you may have to use violence and violence can always happen to you. That's the whole reason for this inmate dictionary right here today. Y'all already know I only got a couple left of them. I'm going to try to go ahead and make sure I throw them in there with my rotation of my videos just so we can go ahead and knock them all out. You feel me? I have people actually asking me about Inmate Dictionary. It's just I be so caught up. You know, I should have been knocked these out. My whole goal with the Inmate Dictionary was last year is I was going to knock out the whole Inmate Dictionary. And then when this year started, I was going to do an Inmate Dictionary 2.0. And I was going to give y'all a whole nother breakdown all the way through A through Z. You feel me? I was going to try to do it each year. You see what I'm saying? But I got a little caught up with my schedule, full-time single dad, couple kids, you know. So it's like I'm only human. But anyways, that's what today is about. Violence is always an option, okay? If you want to make it through prison, I'm telling you, you ain't got to be the most violentest person, but make sure you always remember that it is an option. You may have to use violence. Some situations you can't just sweep under the rug. You can't just knock it to the side, you understand? Because it makes you look some type of way, makes you look vulnerable, makes you look like you're weak, also leaves you open for the violence to hit you. You see what I'm saying? So it's kind of tricky. You know, you might find yourself in a lot of wrong situations that you felt like you were right, and there might be a lot of right situations where you felt like you were wrong. You understand? But anyways, that's what I got for y'all today. I appreciate y'all tuning in to another episode of the Inmate Dictionary. Like I said, this is letter V. Y'all make sure y'all check out the playlist, man. It's on this channel. Y'all go to playlist, look. We got A through V so far, and then we're going to go all the way to Z. I appreciate y'all tuning in, man, and having the patience. Wait for me to drop these videos. I know my schedule, I've been pushed back a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But it's busy, man, the shit I got going on. But hey, you know, it is what it is. Y'all can also check me on my gaming channel, man, KFROG Gaming. I'll be over there streaming, you know, about 2 hours every day, every other day. Sometimes on the weekends. Y'all can check me out over there. I appreciate y'all watching, man. Y'all make sure you keep them rats, squares, clowns, chomos, pedos, gunners, wannabe island boys, clout chasers, pump faking ass, wannabe gangbangers, all these snitching ass, tattletaling, pointing the finger, fibbing ass, hating ass people. Keep them out your circle, man, and smile at everything you do. 2023, man, we're going to have a great year. Appreciate y'all watching. Till next time, y'all already know, I am my team, the one and only Frog.